ageless, the timeless, the legendary Ellis Cooper. Ellis, welcome to the show, man. Good to hear from you.
Thank you, Fast Freddie, and
what's causing all this? Woo!
Put Scooter on the phone, you bird brain.
What do you do, backflips? You jump up there in a silly suit? What do you do?
You go BAM! I want you to play that.
So what do? You jump up there in that silly suit and do backflips? A lot of people are looking at this orange and brown gear going, boy, that is a silly suit, isn't it? Well, no, it's not.
That's a silly suit.
This is a sharp-dressed man right here. Best-dressed man in Youngstown tonight right here. Yeah, there you go. Zoom in a little bit.
Yeah.
Here we go,
All
Brownies.
glory.
Here we go. Needless to say, Sunday was a disappointment. Big disappointment. You know, I thought we were going to the Super Bowl.
I take responsibility for this because I didn't watch the game and I was like DVRing it and I didn't want to know what was happening. And it's like the first game that I haven't watched in like 2 years.
Oh no.
And then I look and it accidentally came across one of my feeds when it ended and it was like, that score, it can't be right. That looks like a 3 years ago score, not a this year's score.
No, they must have it wrong.
Right,
we must have the 40 points.
Right.
Somebody better get on the ball here.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
I
going
had
to the Super
$100
Bowl.
on that game and I was spotting 2 points. What the heck?
We're going to the Super Bowl. What's wrong with you people? Come on, man. But at the bar, you had to have this one idiot Patriots fan, you know, who probably just, you know, started liking the Patriots as a front runner. You know how, you know, it was the same way with people that were like fans of the 49ers.
Yes.
You know, and there's a lot of Steelers fans that are out there that are that way. These front runner fans that get on there and that's their team.
Yep.
And this idiot had to be standing right underneath the TV for the whole game and and
Taunting
cheering
you.
and stuff. It was just like, you know, okay, you know, not funny. So
Do you have any concerns with the Lions? Like, seriously?
well, yeah, you know what? In some ways I do. I think they could be dangerous, but I think they just suck. When I was watching that game with the Steelers and both teams really sucked, I looked at it and go, you know what? There's a reason that these guys are 0-8.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. I don't, you know, they just don't have it. But then us, we just look. It was kind of funny too, because at about 3 minutes into the third quarter, when you knew it was out of control, and you just had that feeling, all the Browns fans turned into Lions fans at that point. More people were watching the Lions game, you know, hoping that the Lions would beat the Steelers, and
that would help us. It really would. I mean, the tie even helps us.
Yeah. So that was kind of crazy. That was kind of crazy. So that's about it, really, about the sports. We all know what it is, and this isn't how I thought we were going to be feeling. You know,
I think there's a 17% chance we still get in. 17.
Here's the thing with that. Being a Browns fan all these years, I usually don't get too pumped up. You know, my whole thing is, I usually always say this. I go, well, we'll wait until like Halloween going into November, and then I'll tell you how I feel about the team.
Right.
Not this year.
No.
After the way we ended the season last year, I fell in for that hook, line, and sinker.
Mm-hmm.
I was all in. And I'm still all in. But I mean, I was like, I believed. I mean, they had me. They reeled me right in, man. I mean, they put the hook right there. Oh, here I go, flopping around right into the boat. And, you know, I mean, that's all I was thinking about all summer is like, oh, I can't wait for football season to start. We're going to the Super Bowl. This is our year. I was planning the Big Ben retirement party. I thought for sure we were going to knock him out in the first game we played him, and that was going to be the last we were ever going to see a Big Ben, and we were going to ruin his game in Cleveland and finally get some revenge and maybe knock him on his head, or Myles Garrett just crushed him or whatever. And then it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah. I think we talked too much shit. I really do. I think we talked.
And then I start thinking, okay, you know, not that I'm like it's the end of the world to me, because I'm a Browns fan. So, you know, you're always waiting for the bottom to fall out when you're a Browns fan. But I still think we got a shot at something good. Yeah. I
think of progress though. We would we were 2-14 seasons. We were still optimistic, right?
Right.
And now we're at 500. We would have prayed for this day, right?
I know, yeah. Hey, you know, there was a time when we said, hey, if we go 500, man, that's good.
A win. That's our Super Bowl.
Yeah. But that loss to the Steelers was a major bummer, and that was my whole thing. I thought for sure. I bought into it 100%. I didn't even have second thoughts or whatever. I was just like, all right, here we go, Brownies, here we go, woof, woof. And I thought that's the way it was going to go. Hey, let's see. Jay Bird is watching today. Jay Bird, you remember he was one of the people that talked me out of going to the Stones.
He go to his?
Yeah, he went and had the time of his life. They went to Detroit. Him and Vinny, and they had the time of their lives, and the Stones were just so freaking good and so awesome. It's amazing on how that band could continue on. And of course, I had to work, but these guys are retired. So it makes it a little difficult for me. Now, if this was a little bit ago when I was, you know, retired or whatever I was there, then I would have went, but it was like, okay, you know, if I'm on the air at 3:00, it makes it a little difficult to be in Detroit at 7:30 for the show. And, you know, plus these guys left early and went and had a couple of drinks. Everything. I mean, you know, I'm back to being a working man.
Yeah.
You know,
it reminds me of high school, like kids, your friends are all going to a party and you're bagging groceries. You're
like,
dang.
Yeah. And of course, needless to say, they rubbed it in pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They rubbed it in pretty good. Tracy Randall checking in, Steelers fan, Ms. Pittsburgh. Yeah, she's all happy that the Browns are losing anyways. I mean, her team. Oh, my friend Yvonne checking in. Hi, Yvonne. How are you? She was making something on Facebook. I saw she posted a picture of something that looked pretty good. Some kind of soup, I think. You know, isn't it amazing? And my friend Barb, happy birthday, Barb. She's checking in. I got to get out to get some gigs going here, so Barb and everybody can come out and party with me. But
getting lonely, need your friends hanging out?
In some ways, yeah. And in some ways, I just kind of like taking it easy for a little bit right now. So we'll see.
It's the holidays. You can get your
I think after the first of the year, and then but you know what? Even just walking from the parking lot into the studio here and putting gas in my car before I came down here, I wasn't feeling it, man. Just that cold weather, and I'm just sitting there going, this really blows. This sucks. I'm not ready for this. We're going to be doing this till what, May? Sometimes until June, the way things go,
Now, anybody pursuing? Are you doing any New Year's Day stuff? Are you going to host any events or anything?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. I'm just, what do I got coming up? I'm going to do some kind of a party at the Royal Oaks around Christmas time. I got the Ohio State-Michigan game at the Ice House coming up. And that's about it for right now.
Okay.
And then hopefully I'll get back to the Ice House or the Tangiers or some of those places and get back out there and lug my speakers around. And, at midnight, it's freezing cold.
Still doing
and you're
your own
carrying
roadie
those
gig.
speakers. And then, not only is it bad, okay, you wrap up at midnight, you carry the stuff out of the bar, put it in your car, then you still got to unload it when you get home.
That sucks.
But
did you see our friend Viking Jim when you were over at the Oaks? Was he there?
No, surprisingly not.
He's
I got to call him out on that.
Okay.
I got to call him out on that because it was John F. Kennedy's birthday and no Viking Jim.
No Viking Jim.
Nowhere to be seen. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a story to go along with that.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I was I haven't talked to Vike lately. He was a little under the weather last time I talked to him. So I don't know. All right, so here's the plan for today.
Yeah.
All right, the plan is this is supposed to be the Halloween show. I don't know what happened on Halloween. I think I was sick at Halloween.
I think you were, yeah.
And I wanted to do my interview with Ellis Cooper because Ellis Cooper and Halloween go together. And I talked to him, right before he played in downtown Youngstown, which was a great show, by the way. It's amazing. That guy's 73 years old. He's in great shape, and he can still sing. Some of these guys you go out and see, and their voices, they're not hitting those notes or
lots of whiskey over the beer,
yeah,
lots of
but
smoking.
Ellis, man, I'll tell you what, his voice was strong, and the thing about him is he's got this great band, and he's got 3 great guitar players, Ryan Roxy and this Nita Strauss, who's just she's a smoking hot blonde and a killer guitar player. So he's got these 3 guitar players, and they just go out there and shred. So he's got like this young, energetic band, and he's got a hot wife that plays all the different parts, like the naughty nurse and things like that. And he's just out there belting them out. And
cool.
It's amazing on how good he is sounding. And he's got a new album out. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then after our talk with Ellis, I think what we'll do is I wanted to talk about some of the things that we used to do around here around Halloween back in the day, like Zombieland down in Lowellville, and the Hook Man, and the Glowing Grave, and the Green Man, and 5 Points out in Hartford. And all, this was back before you didn't go to a haunted house, or haunted houses were just starting.
Right.
But this was like, you're going looking for real haunted stuff,
Right.
And most of it was baloney. But I mean, over the years, some bad stuff has happened in some of these places. So we'll talk a little bit about that too. So
did you see my haunted tunnel video from Hocking Hills?
No.
I'll have to show you that on the way back too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did you find something?
I'll tell you about it.
Was the meter going goofy?
A little bit.
All right. So let's do our interview with Ellis Cooper. And then when we come back, we'll talk about all that other stuff about the Green Man and Zombieland and 5 Points and some of these places that some of the older folks will remember, and the younger people, you'll get a little insight as to like what our idea of fun was back then, and probably stuff you can't even do anymore.
Right.
Vampires are like that. We just don't age.
I'll tell you, how important has it been for you to keep that rock and roll body as far as your longevity is concerned?
You know what? I was a distance runner in school. I was a long distance, for like 20 miles, 15 miles of cross country track and everything. And I always maintained that body. I never really, lost that that sort of slim body style. And so, it's paid off. I never smoked either. I never smoked cigarettes, but I quit drinking 38 years ago. So, I mean, that's why I'm still here.
And it just wouldn't work though if you had a pot belly or something. When you look at guys like you, Mick Jagger, Steven Tyler from Aerosmith, that rock and roll body is important to keep this going.
It is. I mean, I always said if I can't play Alice and look like Alice, then I would quit. I mean, but I've maintained, I can still wear my leather sweater from high school. How's that?
Yeah, that's pretty good, man, that you could still do that. I can't wear the same pair of pants I had 2 years ago. I mean, come on. I got to work on. I got a rock and roll body, but I got a different kind of rock and roll body.
Yeah, you got more of the rock and roll body that's been beaten pretty badly. No, I got a picture of you right here. You look okay. Now,
you're going to be rocking Youngstown on September 27th, along with Ace Frehley. That is definitely going to be a nice night, man. It's going to be a rocking night. Now, of course, your band is smoking hot. What's it like every night for you to come up on stage and you got 3 guitar players like Ryan Roxy, Anita Strauss, and Tommy Hendrickson? What's it like, man, to just jump on stage knowing you got that behind you and that you guys are just ready to blow the roof off the place?
It makes my day a lot easier knowing that band just doesn't make mistakes. I mean, they get on stage, and here's the best thing about that band is that they're best friends. They're all best friends. So you never hear any of this griping backstage. You never hear people ego tripping backstage or anything like that. Everybody is best friends. And so all you hear is laughing.
Now,
that makes it so easy for me.
Now, the last time you played there, we did like a record store signing with Ryan and Tommy. And I'll tell you what, they were just such great guys. And you can see that camaraderie, just the way they were hanging out together and joking, and just the way they were greeting the fans. It was, you could really tell. And I think it makes a difference when those guys get on stage.
Well, when we get on tour, we have so much fun on tour. I mean, it's like nights off, we all go to the movies. It's like everybody wants to hang out together. I know other bands that can't stand each other. The only time they see each other is on stage. And I can't imagine how anybody could tour like that.
I'll let you in on a secret, though. Those guys told me that the secret to touring with Ellis Cooper is that they got to let you win the golf matches. That's the secret. They said they let you win.
That's the easiest part of it because I'm going to beat them anyways. I mean, I'm playing to like 1 handicap right now. So, these guys are all 13, 14 handicaps. But they're great to play. They're good players.
Right. Now, I know you golfed at Mill Creek the last time you were here in Youngstown.
Yeah, that's right. We play 9 holes at least every day. And that's so weird because golf and Alice Cooper never meet.
Right.
They when I'm on a golf course, I'm not Alice Cooper. That night on stage, I become Alice Cooper, and the two. Alice never thinks about golf, and when I'm on the golf course, I never think about Alice Cooper. So it's a coexistence that works.
Now, you've been playing Youngstown from the very beginning of your career. Now, I remember, I've just got a little list of some of the places that you played here. You actually played the first big outdoor rock concert that we ever had in Youngstown. It was you and Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes and Bob Seger and Chuck Berry and Brownsville Station and Tea Garden and Van Winkle. And I know some of this is a blur. I'm just throwing these out here. You also played at Struthers Fieldhouse with Brownsville Station and the Velvet Underground without Lou Reed. And then there was a place in downtown called the Tomorrow Club. It was an old theater, and you played there. And there was a little club called The Exit, and it was at the bottom of the hill by some railroad tracks. And why you were even playing there, I haven't the slightest idea, but you were there. And then, of course, you played the Bull and Bear, Packard Music Hall, the Covelli Center with Rob Zombie. So Youngstown definitely loves Ellis Cooper, and you've been a part of the rock scene here from day one.
Well, I still believe this. Midwest is the hard rock capital. I mean, we're Detroit, and all around the Midwest. When you get to the middle section of America, that audience wants hard rock. They don't put up with, gosh, I hope you like us here tonight. They want to be shaken. And so bands like Ted Nugent and, of course, Iggy and the Stooges, the MC5, all those bands from Detroit, when you come to town, I mean, we come to town to rock you. We didn't come there to babysit you, and but New York's got its own thing, and the South got its own thing, and LA's got its own thing, but the Midwest is the hard rock, meat and potatoes, rock and roll.
Well, if they didn't put the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, I would have definitely not have had a problem if they put it in Detroit, because Detroit really is Detroit Rock City. When you think of all the great artists that have come out of Detroit, and when you think of Motown and everything, I mean, Detroit is Detroit Rock City. I don't think that's a misnomer in the least bit.
No, not at all. And I mean, it just shows from the pedigree of bands that have come out of there. And at the same time, we coexisted with Motown very well. The guys in Motown, we would be up on stage, doing a show in Detroit with MC5 and Ellis Cooper, and you'd look down and there'd be Smokey Robinson, and there would be Stevie Wonder, and all those guys would come to the show. And then we would go to see their shows, and there was never any color thing about it. It was just music. It was just good. We ended up partying with all those guys.
And Detroit, but for people don't realize it, I mean, this is the rock scene. And I mean, it's all you guys playing in different clubs on the same night in the same city. I think it's wild.
Yeah, no, it was really crazy back then. Detroit was such a hot city. I remember one night we were playing with, I think we were playing with The Who that night. And it was at this one place. And across downtown was Elton John and Bob Seger. And then across the street was Steppenwolf and the Stooges. And all places were packed. I mean, you could have 5 concerts going on with major acts, and they would all be packed.
And, that's a Midwest thing, like you said. I think you would find that in Toledo. You would find that in Detroit. You would find that in Buffalo,
Absolutely.
Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
Cleveland,
I mean,
sure.
those are all just such great rock and roll cities, I mean, and then, of course, back in the day with WMMS launching all the bands out of Cleveland. I mean, it was really a crazy time back then.
Oh, yeah, very, very crazy times. And, that was best, I think, maybe the healthiest rock scene ever. Was that whole Midwest scene, because so many good bands were coming out. And, a lot of them are still here. I mean, Iggy's still playing. We're touring more now than ever. And now I'm in the other band, in the Hollywood Vampires, and so at 73, I didn't expect to be in 2 touring bands.
That's pretty wild, man. When you look back on it. Now, how did you get started in the music business? Did you play an instrument, or how did you get?
No.
What made you decide to get into music? When did the bug first hit you?
I was 15 years old, and we listened to the Beach Boys and the Four Seasons and Motown. That was top 40, and we were just going into high school. And I'm painting the house in the summertime, and and the radio was always on. And so all of a sudden I hear, "She loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah." And I stopped and I went, "What was that?" Because I'd never heard anything like that before, the Beatles, And then I heard, "I Want to Hold Your Hand," about an hour later. And then I heard, "Please Please Me," about an hour later. And I went, "What is going on? What is this new sound going on?" And of course, we were the prime Beatlemania kids. And I immediately called my best friends, that were on the track and cross country team, and said, "Let's start a band." And that was the original Ellis Cooper band. We were called the Spiders, but that was the original band.
Isn't it amazing the impact that the Beatles have had on rock music, and that they're still going strong? And, just about every guy I interview, most of them say, "Man, I heard the Beatles. I saw them on Ed Sullivan." And I mean, it's on all levels, people on your level, guys that are still playing in local bar bands or whatever. It's amazing that these 4 guys from Liverpool had this massive, massive influence on the entire music scene, and it's still there today.
Well, it's because nobody writes that many great songs. I mean, honestly, when you think of it, it's almost like there's always the argument they could be aliens, because they wrote 50 or 60 or 70 perfect songs, and all those songs still live. I mean, you can put on the first Beatles album, or Sgt. Pepper, or any of those albums, and the song will come up, and if you're 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, and you'll go, "Oh man, that's great. What is that?" "Oh, that's a little band called the Beatles," But they also influenced Sinatra. They influenced Elvis. They influenced Bernstein. I mean, Broadway. Everybody. They influenced everybody. Ozzy and I talked about this before. If you listen to an Ozzy song or an Alice song, it's always melody oriented, very, very melody. We don't just do riffs. We have to sit down and be able to sing that song at a piano. And that's the Beatle influence. Then you can put the hot guitars on it. Then you can put the attitude and everything in it. But our reference points are always going to be the Beatles.
It's absolutely amazing that 50, 60 years almost later and there's not very many bands out there that arguably their last album was their best album. I mean, talk about a feat there, and the fact that every member in the band went on to a super solo career. I don't think there's one band out there.
Even crazier than that was that they were the first band, right? And they could make a movie and be funny and have personalities. If you would have taken the Dave Clark Five, if you would have taken Herman's Hermits or anybody else, there might have been one guy that could handle being funny and being charming and being charismatic. Everybody in the Beatles could have been actors.
Oh, sure.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, what's the chances of that?
And then with their press conferences, you still look back on these press conferences, and here's these four young guys, and these people are just throwing questions at them about anything, and they're witty, and they're funny, and they're right there, and not backing down or shying away.
You can watch Hard Day's Night or Help, and those movies, and they still hold up.
It's nuts. It's just nuts the impact that the Beatles have had. Now, we were talking a little bit about Detroit Rock City. Now, your latest album is called Detroit Stories, and I'll tell you what, that album is really good, Ellis. I got to tell you that album it just kicks ass, man. Tell us a little bit about the album.
Well, first of all, we were surprised as anybody else that it debuted at #1 in record sales. So, I mean, we were totally taken back by that. But when we went to Detroit, I wanted to do a hard rock album. And so I wasn't going to do it in LA or Nashville or New York. I said, let's go to Detroit and do this. The next thing we knew, we wrote it in Detroit. And then we said, let's use all Detroit players. So we had Mark Farner, we had Wayne Kramer. We had Johnny B on drums, and everybody that we wanted to play on that album said sure, and they all played better than they ever did. And then I got some of the original. I got the original guys on the album for a couple of songs, and the original guys in the original Alice band, Dennis, Neil, and Mike, still play as good as they ever did. So they've been on the last 4 albums of mine, by the way, the original band, and it was really fun to do this album because instead of layering it sort of like we did with Nightmare and made it into a production, kind of a Broadway-ish kind of production, we got these songs done and I just said, let this band play live. So every track that you hear on that album is a live track in the studio. That was their power, was playing live. And then we added Joe Bonamassa to the gang. And, you can't get much better than him on guitar, and Steve Hunter, and man, it just wrote itself,
Yeah, it's an amazing album. I'll tell you, people, I know some people our age, they, backed off of buying albums or new music or whatever, but I'll tell you what, man, it sounds so fresh. And like you say, there's so much power in that. And I think that raw, stripped down feel really comes across in this album. It's just, Shut Up and Rock is a great song. I had my notes in front of me. I can't find all my notes about the album that I had written down.
Hail Mary rocks. And, what we do is we took on every kind of music in Detroit. And we just, we gave a little bit of a tip of the hat to Motown with $1,000 high heel shoes. And we did, Velvet Underground's rock and roll. But we took it, I said, if we took this song and brought it to Detroit and put a V8 engine in it, and souped it up, then that song could be a real rocker. And it ends up being just a, phenomenally rocking song.
And then you have that heavy blues influence in there too. I mean, there's a couple of them songs, man, that just that blues influence comes out. I think it sounds dynamite.
That's the drunken blues, and it was, well, I looked at it this way. I said, Here's a guy that lives under a bridge in a box. Okay, I don't know how he got there, but that's where he lives. And a bunch of people live under that bridge. And there's a girl that lives in a box way down the thing, and he's in love with her. She's in love with him, you know. And I said, that love story is as valid as Romeo and Juliet. So let's do a blues song. And then, of course, Bonamassa is going to play on that, and I get to play harp on it. And, you know, we just turned it into just a pure blues song.
I know, man. It's like kind of a departure from, you know, like I think what some people would normally expect, but the whole album rocks from beginning to end, and the videos look awesome too, man. I mean, the videos that I've seen from it, I think you did a great job on that too.
Well, we've got a great record company. They're a German record company, and it's us and Deep Purple on this record company, and these guys act like a 70s record company. They're the real deal. They do everything that the old record companies do. See, my attitude is this, Freddie, is that people, you know, like even Pete Townsend, one of my heroes, he says, we're not going to make records anymore because nobody's buying records.
Yeah.
And I went, I don't care about that. I know there's a million Ellis Cooper fans that want to hear new music.
And so I think
I'm making albums for them. I'm not making albums to try to make $1 million on it. I'm just making albums to give my fans over the years new music.
And I'll tell you, and it's working, because I was really impressed by that album, because there are some guys out there too that I sometimes think are putting out an album to put out an album, and there's really nothing behind it. You know, it's like, okay, you know, we're going to do this, or they're operating from that premise that nobody wants to listen to this. It's not going to get any airplay. Why are we even wasting our time? We'll throw something out there. But I'll tell you, man, I think you put a lot of heart and soul into this one.
Oh, absolutely. I'm working on a new album with Bob Ezrin right now, the next Ellis album. We're working on 3 albums right now at once.
Uh-huh.
So there's 3 more albums in the making right now. So, yeah, I just got done in Los Angeles writing with Bob Ezrin and a bunch of different writers. And the next album is going to rock like crazy. It might even be heavier than this album.
Oh, that's going to be crazy. I'll tell you what was a real Detroit song on that album. Now, the Go Man Go. I mean, that song there, with that, if that song doesn't scream Detroit, I don't know what does. You know.
You know, I knew that there's characters like this, like the Hamtramck Hammer, you know, and his girlfriend Painkiller Jane, and you know, he just gets out of jail, steals a Hellcat, and picks her up. And they're trying to outrun the cops, and there's a train coming, and he goes, do I slow down or do I speed up? And she goes, go, man, go. In other words, she's crazier than he is.
What a song, man. What a song. And you know what? Social Debris, the video for that one with the old buildings in Detroit. You know, I love to go to Detroit and look at the old buildings. You know, to me, you know, that's a tourist destination. When you go and you see all those old buildings in Detroit, and you could feel the history of that town and the glory days when that was like the industrial capital, you know, because Youngstown's the same way. We lost our steel mills. We lost our car plants. But boy, when you go to Detroit, I mean, even that with the social debris, you know, I mean, when you see those old buildings, there's just a feel to Detroit that you don't get anywhere else.
Well, and also that had to do a lot also with the original Alice Cooper band. I mean, you know, we were the biggest underdog on the planet. Everybody looked at us as social debris. I mean, they just looked at us and they went, hey, you guys are just, you know, never going to make it. And you guys are too weird for rock and roll, and you're too this and you're too that. So we just felt like outsiders. We always felt like we were on the outside looking in, and then we made it, you know. So but we still felt like social debris. We didn't feel like we were invited to the party.
Exactly. And then you come to Youngstown, Ohio, and people are like, these are our dudes right here, man. We get it. Yeah. We're social debris as well, man. Okay. We get these guys. We know what they're all about, you know. And then
again, that's the Midwest. I love the Midwest.
And such timeless classics, man. When you look back on the Ellis Cooper catalog with 18 and School's Out, Under My Wheels, man. I mean, you guys had a good run, a good run of writing some solid rock and roll hits. I mean, No More Mr. Nice Guy. Those things stand up to anything that is out there right now. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they were just guitar driven. I think, that just never goes out of style, a couple of guitars and a bass, and that's not going nowhere. It still sounds as fresh as whatever.
Look at the bands that are still here, that are still rocking from that era: the Rolling Stones, Aerosmith, Alice Cooper, Guns N' Roses, all guitar-driven rock and roll bands. All bands that, music can go to punk, it can go to grunge, it can go to hip hop, it can go everywhere. But the only music that has stood the test of time from the 60s on is hard rock, guitar-driven hard rock.
Yep. And even when you look at ZZ Top is another band. Now we lost Dusty Hill this week. Did you have any memories of ZZ Top? Your paths ever cross out there?
Yeah. We took them on their first tour. Yeah, we took them on their very first tour in 1971, and so Billy and Dusty and Frank, we've been friends for a long time, and when it happened, I called Billy, and Billy just said, "Wow," he says, he said, "What are you going to do?" He says, "It's just rock and roll takes its toll on you," and it had nothing to do with drugs, had nothing to do with anything. He just wore out. He just wore out, and the last thing he said to Billy was, "Show's got to go on. Find yourself a bass player," and then he went.
And that's a true spirit of rock and roll right there, huh?
That's it. Yeah.
Keep it going. We know what it's all about. You got to get out there and then keep that music going. Well, listen, Ellis, you've been more than generous with your time, and I want to just thank you. And I have been a fan since day one, and we can't wait to see the show coming up with Ace Frehley. Now, that's going to be a great show because, Ace gets in there and he's going to bust out all those old, Kiss deep cuts, and we do the whole Ellis Cooper catalog. And I'll tell you what, that's going to be a fantastic night of rock and roll.
Yeah, Ace is great to play with. He rocks as hard as he's ever done. He's a great guitar player. And when we went on this tour, we said, we got to get somebody out there that's going to, set him up and knock him down, and that's Ace. So we've toured before together, and it's really worked out really well.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, there we go, Ellis Cooper. And I'll tell you what a great guy, man. Ellis Cooper is just an awesome guy, and he is just so cool, and I'm glad he took some time out with us. And you definitely got to check out his new album, man. That new album is really, really good, like surprisingly good. I think these days, especially when it comes to like some of these classic rockers, and maybe because some of us are getting older, and I think sometimes when you get older, you kind of lose your lust for new music or whatever. You don't pursue it, and you get kind of set in your ways or whatever. But man, that new album from Ellis Cooper just really rocks, man. It's definitely a good album. So you might want to download it. I would say go or buy it on vinyl if it's out there or whatever. But yeah, it is definitely a good album. And Ellis just a cool guy. I see that Trenda is talking about when TJ saw Ellis Cooper at Lake Milton in 1971. Now that was at the Most Beautiful Picnic. It was called the Most Beautiful Picnic. And it was probably like the first big outdoor rock concert in the Youngstown area. And it was, remember Ace Acker, when he was in here, he was talking about that because his band Law played there, and they backed up
you didn't give me that last couple
shows,
right.
And they backed up Chuck Berry. They were Chuck Berry's band that day, and the lineup was Bob Seger, and this is 1971 Bob Seger, 1971 Ellis Cooper. I want to say maybe the Jay Giles band, and Ted Nugent and his band, the Amboy Dukes, were the headliner. And Brownsville Station was there too, another band out of Detroit. And this was like the first big outdoor rock concert. It was in the Lake Milton area, and a lot of people snuck in. A lot of people snuck in. That happened to a lot of those concerts back in the day, even like with Woodstock and stuff. After a while, it was just a free concert, and everybody just went
5 people
barging in.
paid.
Yeah. and most of these things, the promoters took a bath or whatever, but
Yep.
they had these great happenings. But yeah, it's called The Most Beautiful Picnic. And it ended when somebody threw an M80 on stage when Ted Nugent was playing, and it blew out the sound system. And then that was how it ended on that note.
Stupid.
Yeah. So that was one of the first times that Ellis Cooper played here. But Ellis Cooper, he played around here like on every phase of his career. You know, from he started out, he played at Struthers Fieldhouse right after that, probably 72, 73, something like that, you know, when 18 came out. So he played at Struthers Fieldhouse with the Velvet Underground, but Lou Reed wasn't with him at the time. So he played there. He played, of course, at the Tomorrow Club.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, sir.
There we go. I haven't been nostalgic. I haven't been taking that stagger down Gin Mill memory lane like I normally do. Yeah, he played at the Tomorrow Club back in the day. He played at this little bar. I don't know how this happened. And it might have not even been the real Ellis Cooper, because back at this time, sometimes these bars would do an Ellis Cooper impersonator, or, you know, and just say it was him, you know. And he played at this bar called The Exit on Indianola on the south side. And it was over by Cardinal Mooney, like down at the bottom of the hill by the railroad tracks. And this place was only around for a while. And I think, like many bars in the Youngstown area back in the day at that time, I think it burnt down. But Ellis played there. And how, why, you know, and of course, I asked him about some of these things. And, you know, when you've been doing this for 50 years, it's all a blur, you know, unless something really major happens. I think so much of that is just so routine that, you know, it's all one big blur unless something really crazy happened or something really memorable happened. And let's see. So he played down there. He played at the B&B backstage when they had that going in Boardman. That was pretty fun for a while. That was behind Nicolino's. They had a stage set up back there, and they did a lot of concerts back there.
Until all the neighbors complained and destroyed it.
And you know, they had Ellis Cooper up there, and Eddie Money, and Ted Nugent, and I think Shinedown played there. They had a lot of good bands play up there.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of fun. And he played there, and then he played at the amphitheater, which that Ellis Cooper show was the first time I was down there. I was really surprised on how nice that is. Let me tell you, I can't wait for this next summer to come around and they really start booking some bands down there, because it is awesome. And the nice part about it is you could be home at the show's over at 10 and you're home at 10:30, or you could party for a little bit, if you want to. But I mean, you know, you had Ellis Cooper in downtown Youngstown. You get off work, you know, go home, take a shower, whatever, come down, watch the show. 10 o'clock, 10:30, you're home if you've got to be, and you know, you're up for work like nothing happened.
I love outdoor shows. I really do.
And it's so nice the way it's by the river. And so, you know, you look down over the river and you got that real nice view. And then behind you, you got the quote unquote Youngstown skyline, and you got the Home Savings clock lit up, and you got the buildings and everything. And it's
Home Savings. What's that? Home Savings.
Oh yeah, well, Premier. Yeah. That's what we got to do. We haven't done the man on the street for a while.
Now, when I was a kid, like you mentioned that people dress up as Alice Cooper. I can remember three people dress up as Kiss. They were everywhere.
Right.
And then you had Ozzy Osbourne, always dressed up as and Alice Cooper. It was a big thing. Every Halloween had at least those characters.
Yeah. At least you do your eyes up. I did that for Halloween. I was in the Niles Halloween parade, and I just did
little mascara.
Black eyes. Yeah. So I'll tell you another good one that he played. But the Youngstown Amphitheater. I mean, it is just so nice, and and for me, you know, especially with me working. If I got stuck at the radio station until like 7:30 or whatever, you're 10 minutes away. You fly down South Avenue, and you're there even at 8 o'clock find a place to park, you watch the show, and and then you can
Back.
even run back to
Yep.
work and finish up what you got to do.
Beautiful thing.
But so I thought that was it's such a feather in the cap for downtown Youngstown. And then probably my favorite Ellis Cooper show is when him and Rob Zombie played a Halloween show at the Covelli Center. And that was such a crazy party. And we did a pre-show party at the Royal Oaks, and they have a hearse, and they were driving people back and forth down to the show in this hearse and everything. And I mean, I'll tell you what, I cannot remember drinking that much in one night in a long time. If I look back and I think, boy, you want to talk about tying one on. I mean, it was just an insane party. It was an insane party. The show was insane. Everybody from Youngstown that was down there was just crazy. And I think that might be one of my favorite Ellis Cooper shows when he played at the Covelli Center in downtown Youngstown. That was just nuts. Let's see who else is checking in. Our friend Diane is checking in. Kathy, thanks for the nice words. Lori Mercer, how are you? Our buddy Dave is checking in, and he wants us to send a little shout out and a little tribute to our motorcycle friend Bozo, Rob Alford. And everybody that hangs out at Bike Night knows Bozo. He was a real character, and unfortunately, he passed away this week. And we all want to send our condolences out to his family. But boy, he was a character, and he was one of the original. If it's for free, it's for me. Bozo. If he could, if he could get something for free, he would do it. And at one point, he even won a motorcycle from the lube one time.
Whoa, that's big.
He won a Harley from the lube.
Dang.
Yep. And then last year he was in maybe it was last year he was in a motorcycle accident. A school bus pulled out in front of him in the middle of summer, and he broadsided it. And to give you kind of an idea what kind of guy he was, though, I was supposed to meet him. We were going to go up to Geneva on the Lake. And he says, "Hey, why don't you meet me down at the Get-Go right around the corner from my house over in Warren?" I says, "Okay." So I'm at the Get-Go, and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. And his car pulls up, and this lady goes, "Hey, are you Fast Freddie?" I'm thinking, "Oh, you must know me from the radio." And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "A guy named Bob told me to come up here and tell you that he's not going to be able to make it to Geneva because he was in an accident and he hit a school bus."
He sent someone to give you the notification. What a considerate dude.
I know. And then he told her, he says, "Tell him that we'll probably end up going tomorrow." Well, the guy had a broken hip, and he had several broken bones, and he was laid up for several months. But wow. I mean, he's laying there on the street, and they're putting him on a stretcher, and he calls this lady over and says, "Hey, run up to the Get-Go and tell Fast Freddie."
One concern, not the blood coming out of his arm.
No. And I thought, you know what? That was really something.
Yeah.
I thought, man, Bozo, that was pretty cool.
Yep.
So anyways, we had the Ellis Cooper. Bozo will be missed. He was a character. There was always, when he would go somewhere with us, there was always something would happen, but he definitely will be missed. He was a real character. And like I say, we want to send our condolences out to his whole family, his daughter Roberta, and everybody, and Velma and everybody else. So he definitely will be missed. That's one thing about the motorcycle thing. I can remember years and years and years and years and years ago, Mr. Thunder from Thunder Harley. He's telling me, he goes, "I never try to sell anybody a motorcycle." He says, when somebody comes in here, I tell them, "I'm going to sell you a new life. You're going to have more fun than you've ever had. You're going to go more places. You're going to meet more people than you ever did. And that's what I'm here to sell you." He says, I'm not even here to sell you a motorcycle. I'm here to sell you this lifestyle, and I'm here to sell you this whole new thing. And I'll tell you what, damn if he wasn't right. Yep. I mean, it's amazing on how many people that I have met through motorcycling, like guys like Bozo or Dave and, Lori Mercer, and practically everybody on this list here. Keith Sturgeon. I mean, all these people through motorcycling, and all of a sudden, you go on a poker run and there's a couple guys there and, hey, you want to ride with us? Yeah. Okay. And then you ride with them and, next week, maybe somebody will say, hey, we're all riding up here. And then there'll be a different group. And then, you ride up to Tyanesta or go to Cougar Bob's and, you just get this whole thing going. And, it's exactly what he said it was. It was exactly what he said it was. If you got a motorcycle and you like to ride and, there's always people out there and they're always going places and nobody's sitting around, and they're, like born to be wild, looking for adventure and whatever comes our way. And that's kind of how it is, you get the motor running, head on down the highway, looking for adventure and whatever comes our way. And that's pretty much, what it is. And, and then you see different groups of guys and girls and, that hang out or, that, click or whatever. And they'll go and, and then all of a sudden you meet up with this group at this bar and have a couple of drinks and off you go. And it's really a lot of fun. That's the camaraderie that goes with the motorcycle riding. The brotherhood is really cool. And you do meet a lot of people. You meet a lot of people you had never met before, if you were sitting home. So that's the cool part about it. But anyways, this was supposed to be the Halloween show.
Yes, let's do some Halloween.
Finally, we kind of got around to this because I wasn't feeling well. I was under the weather around Halloween, and I had this whole thing planned with do the Ellis Cooper interview and some of the places that I wanted to talk about. Back in the day, before haunted houses and that sort of thing were a big deal, and back in the day when you could drive around and drink or, and not really have to worry about your life being ruined for years to come and losing your job and $10,000 fines and reinstatements and stuff. And, nowadays you would be so far in the hole to get out that it just really, but back in the day when that wasn't really a concern. And even if the cops caught you with like a 12 pack or something, they'd take it off of you or, make you dump it out or, they'd keep it for themselves, send you on your way. And it would be like, don't let us see you again tonight. If we do, you're going to jail.
That's your warning.
And then what did you do, man? You just took off, okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yep. Thank you, officer. You won't see us the rest of the night, then you just go somewhere But so some of the places that one of the big things was you would ride around to these rural areas that were supposedly haunted and crazy stuff went down and everything. And some of the main ones, the big ones were Zombieland in Lowellville and the Green Man out by Coppell, Pennsylvania, out around Wampum, and 5 Points in Hartford.
Yes.
Those were like the big three of like scary shit that goes down. And Zombieland was probably the most famous. Now, Zombieland is that area down in Lowellville off of 224, down by there used to be a church there. Now it's an apartment. They turned this church into an apartment. And you would go down that hill. Or you would come in the other way too. Like if you would come from Struthers and you would come through Lowellville and you would keep going straight, and then all of a sudden you're in this area. And they called it Zombieland. And one of the things was that if the statue of the Blessed Mother had her arms open, it was safe to go into the Zombieland. Now she had them praying. That meant stay away because something bad was going to happen. Ooh. Of course, though, they were always something bad was going to happen.
It wouldn't be any fun if you went there and was like, oh, it's safe.
Yeah. And so and then you would go down along the river there. And, so it was really kind of a scary place. It just had a scary vibe to it.
Yeah.
And it was remote and it was scary. And now the zombies were kind of real. The zombies were these people that lived down there, but they had like some kind of water on the brain problems and stuff. So they were, disabled in some way or whatever. Gotcha. They really weren't zombies like we thought they were. you know, and of course everybody would go down there and you would stop somewhere at one of these stores that would sell beer to underage kids or Boone's Farm wine. And, you know, then everybody pack into a car, 6 people jammed in there, and off you would go to find the zombies, you know. And sometimes they would encounter you, you know, because they would be pissed because you're messing with them, you know.
Right.
You know, we're not cartoon characters. We're not really zombies. We're people, and you're in our yard, and this is our neighborhood.
You know, they
and
had
you're
to
messing
hate
with
that
us.
shit. They really
yeah. And you know, they would chase people, and sometimes they would you know, get in confrontations and pull guns and things like that.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
So you know, but so that was one of the attractions in Zombieland, was actually the zombies. 2, they had that one bridge down there. Supposedly somebody hung themselves off of this bridge or whatever. There's so many different stories. You know, anybody could, you know, jump in and correct me, or, you know, everybody's story is probably right, and to some extent from what they've heard.
Right. But
there's no proof of any of this.
Right.
So then you go down there, and of course it's dark. And the roads are all dark. And of course, if you really wanted to bust balls, you would like turn off the lights and stop. And what are you doing? You know, stuff like that. Or
always one of those guys in the car,
or
right?
Sooner or later, somebody has to piss, right?
Yes,
you know, so somebody got to take a leak. And the minute they get out of the car, what do? Take off.
Yep.
You know, the cars are, hey, come back here, you know. And so then, okay, so they had the zombies down there, and then they had the bridge, and then they had this other thing called Hookman. And there was like this, you go back into the woods a little ways, and there was like this, like kind of a torch from a gas well, and you would light it, and it would, you know, whoosh. And then, of course, when the torch went out, that meant that the Hookman was coming, you know. And of course, it would always go out, especially if there was a little breeze or whatever. And what really made it scary is because you had to walk down this path, you know. So now your car's parked out on this abandoned road in the middle of nowhere, in this, you know, and then you would walk down this long path, and you would find the torch back there, and you would light it, and then, and then all of a sudden, and everything just takes off. Ah, he's coming. Let's go. And then up at that one cemetery over by Villa Maria, up on top of the hill there too, they had the glowing grave, and that was another one. So those were some of the, you know, you would go down in that area, and that'd be a whole evening of fun, real fun.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
Now, actually, I think maybe about 15 years ago, there was a murder down in Zombieland. You know, these guys killed this young girl down there.
Really?
Yeah. So that would, I mean, you know, so that did happen for sure that I know of. Now, of course, there's a million different stories about what went on down there and whatever, but that is one that really happened, and it wasn't that long ago, you know.
Wow. Recent
history, I would say. So that was the one part. And then from there, if you wanted to go down to Koppel and down around Wampum, I think it was 351 maybe. And that's where the Green Man lived. Now, the Green Man was real. Now, the Green Man wasn't a monster or whatever. But what happened, he was a young kid. And if I remember this right, there's the story about the Green Man, the real story about the Green Man from like the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, you could look it up online, is really true. And I think his name was Ray Robinson, if I'm not mistaken. And our buddy Frank Sesich, when he was in here, his band, the Deadbeat Poets, have a song out there called The Green Man. And it's a tribute to Ray because he was from that area over there in PA, and he had gone and seen the Green Man several times. Now, the Green Man, what happened was he was a little kid, and it was something like, I think he was trying to get a bird's nest off of a trolley wire, and he got electrocuted. And so he had this green glow about his skin, you know, and he just had this greenish complexion. And of course he was all disfigured, you know, and he had like a scarred up mouth and a goofy eye and everything. So a lot of people thought that he was like a monster. And of course, people would go out and on a quest to find the green man to mess with them, and he would just be out there walking the roads, these back roads at night, just because he wanted to get out, he wanted to get out, but he didn't want to be around people. So he would roam these back roads over there around Koppel. And if anybody, wants to correct me on any of this, or you heard something different or whatever, I mean, just jump in the conversation. But so he would be out there roaming around, and some people would mess with him and throw stuff at him and really screw with him. And other people were really nice to him. There were people who bring him beer and cigarettes, and he would hang and talk to him and stuff like that. But once again, the rural Western Pennsylvania countryside, you're just out in these areas where there's
Nowhere.
nothing. So that makes it scary right there,
Right.
and every little thing scares you,
Right.
because everybody's like, ooh. But those were the two main ones in that area, the Green Man and Zombieland. Then over in Hartford, they used to have 5 Points. Now, 5 Points was pretty spooky too. Now, I've been to 5 Points a couple of times. I've been to all these places and many times. And now 5 Points is really scary. I thought it was. And also somebody was murdered there, in recent times. I think that Byros, he murdered that woman out around 5 Points. But 5 Points, the thing out there was, let's see, 5 Points, you had domain dog. Supposedly there was a huge monster dog that roamed around out there, and that I'm sure nobody really seen, but that was one thing. Oh, be careful for domain dog, And then they had the ghost train, because there's these railroad tracks out there, and supposedly, you would see the light coming and everything, and you'd hear the train, and all of a sudden there'd be nothing. And then they also have this one little area out there called Hatchet Hollow. And Hatchet Hollow was creepy. Now, supposedly a farmer killed his wife in this area at Hatchet Hollow, and it's down off the railroad tracks. And I'll tell you, you walk around there, it was kind of like very eerie, it just, something didn't seem right there.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's your mind playing tricks, but when you're walking down there and you're down this railroad tracks and you're down like in this like remote area, and you're just sitting there going, you know what, you can feel some stuff down there.
Yeah.
And 5 Points, that was another one. So those were, I think, the big ones out there: Domain Dog, the Ghost Train, and Hatchet Hollow. Those were like the three big ones out in that area. And it was really spooky, man. Especially if you get out of that car at 10 o'clock at night or something.
Little liquored up a little bit.
Yeah. Got a couple of beers in you.
Yeah.
And then you're walking down in the back into these woods with even like no flashlight or anything. And, you're worried that something's going to happen to your car, and and
Right.
And then, of course, you always got one idiot that's trying to scare people, and whoo, and that kind of stuff, and driving off with everybody running the car real quick, and one last guy, hey, help me, come back. So that was another one, and we're out. Oh, another, and then over in I think over in Sharon, towards Transfer, out in that area, there's a place called Buell Hill, and I think they call it Spook Hill, and I think it may be Buell Farm Road or whatever. And somebody else, if you're from that area and you want to jump in and you want to tell us about it. And now we went out there one time too, and it was just, once again, remote area, and it's just this hill.
It's a theme.
It's this hill and this, in this dark country road, remote country road. And supposedly a doctor was going to deliver a baby, and his horse and buggy flipped over or something, and he was decapitated. Now, I felt some stuff out there too. We're walking down there, and it was just like, oh boy, this doesn't seem like your normal, like, walk in the woods, Now, I don't know if that's because you're thinking this, I don't know, but it was just kind of like, sometimes you get in there and that hair starts standing on your skin, you kind of go, Ooh, that seems weird.
Yeah.
That seems a little crazy there. But that was the stuff that back in the day that like our supposedly haunted stuff. Oh, and then they had Crazy Kate. She lived out in like North Jackson area, out there by I'm trying to think of the name of the road. Out by where they had that drag strip and everything out there by Meander. Now, Crazy Kate was just a crazy woman. You know, she wasn't haunted, but people would screw with her too.
Yeah. She was sane until she got named Crazy Kate.
Oh, no. She was pretty crazy back then. She was definitely crazy, but you know, it wasn't, I don't think she was really haunted or a witch. It was just people were messing with these people, you know, is what a lot of this, a lot of this stuff boiled down to is what I think it was, is people just, you know, mentally ill or, you know, physically challenged or whatever. And all these idiots were just screwing with them is what I think that boiled down to. But like, you know, Crazy Kate was another one, should be roaming the roads out there and stuff. And, you know, so it was kind of goofy. Yeah. It's Crazy Kate. And what other one? Oh, and then on Duck Creek Road, they used to have the ghost lights out there too, you know, kind of similar to the glowing grave over by Villa Marie. But so that's what you used to do for like haunted fun back in the day, is go to all these different places. Now, I think the last time I was down by Green Man over in Zombieland, I think they've actually built some nice houses down in that area and stuff.
They ruined it now.
Yeah. But I think the torch is still there. We'll have to go down there one day.
We'll do.
But see, I know you do serious ghost hunting,
I do.
and so this isn't like that. Now maybe, you know, where the bad stuff honestly did happen, maybe it'd pick something up there. But like some of this stuff, like Green Man, obviously or Hook Man, you know, Green Man was real, but he wasn't haunted,
right?
You know, some people would see him and, hey, there's a Green Man, you know, throw a beer can at him and stuff, you know, throw a empty bottle of Boone's Farm at him and things like that. But it wasn't like, oh, he was a real monster or he was haunted or anything. It was a poor guy that got electrocuted and he's disfigured and people are screwing with him is what a lot of that stuff boiled down to, you know. Now you went out on a recent ghost hunt here.
Yes.
Okay.
So you want the fire station or what we did this last weekend? I did two of them.
Well, let's do them both.
Okay.
I mean, what do you got up to right now?
So we went to Hocking Hills last weekend.
Okay.
And we're staying in a state park, and we took the kids down to do some, like, they were teaching about, you know, archery and whatever. So we did the whole tour thing. And when we were there, then ODNR lady was like, hey, did you guys see the haunted tunnel? And then we're like, no, there's what haunted tunnel? So she gave us a story about there's a tunnel, and there was a lot of accidents that happened in a tunnel where when the trains would come through, if there was an obstruction on the other side, someone would be responsible for running through the tunnel and throwing pebbles at the train engineer to let him know that there was something up ahead and he needs, you know, to stop the train. And a kid got killed in the tunnel, and he haunts that thing. And she said, what you're going to do is you're going to walk through this thing, and somebody's going to throw pebbles at you as you're going through. Okay. And this thing's about a football field long. So it's a pretty hardcore tunnel. And I didn't know that the tracks had been long taken out. So I was like, what happens if a freaking train comes in when we're doing this? And then we're joining the lure, you know?
Yeah.
And then they said, and at the very end, the kid's mom is still looking for him. So you might smell her perfume on the other side of the tunnel. All right. So here we go. I'm going to play this video. You guys can see it, and I'll kind of give you what it is. And it's a really cool place. And so that's this is just in the middle of the woods. There's this just tunnel in pitch black. So this is us making our way to where the entrance is for the tunnel. And we got all the kids with us, so we're doing great parenting here. And so you should see that's a big stone, sort of like a stone-faced entrance to it. And it's really creepy. I mean, you can't really get the creepiness factor. It's dark. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere. So here we come with the haunted tunnel.
So you're getting that feeling, though.
Oh, I am. Yeah.
You know, it's not like sometimes you could be like, say you're at Mosquito Lake Campground and you're walking around or whatever, and you don't get that feeling.
Right.
You know?
This was heavy. Yeah, this was like a what am I doing here?
Now, do you have any of your ghost hunting gear?
I don't know because I didn't even know we were going to this thing.
Okay.
So we're like in the blind.
Okay.
And this, I'm telling you, like it's not marked. If she wouldn't have told us about it, we'd have never found it. So here we go. This is the ghost tunnel. And it's got a good bit of graffiti that has, you know, skulls and whatever. So the ambiance, the ambiance is set.
Yeah.
But so when we're walking through, there wasn't much of anything. I'm thinking more like, what if an animal's in here and we stumble on a bear or something like that? But the feeling I got though when we drove down this desolate road is that there was like a house and they probably like called in and said, "Hey, we got tourists coming and they were gonna jack with us."
Get
you
ready.
know,
have some fun.
Yep,
fun time, showtime, boys.
So yeah, it was creepy. Now here's the one part of this that flipped me out a little bit. We got to the end of the tunnel, and we got all the way through, and we're kind of looking around, and we're looking up to see the markings. And we smelled the perfume. We smelled, it was like a flowery scent. And there's no flowers out this time.
Yeah.
So we smelled a phantom scent, a violet smell. It was amazing.
Everybody get a little crazy then?
Well, the thing we were like, did somebody spray that? Who was it? Did somebody bring like hand sanitizer? Because we were suspicious now. Who did it?
Yeah.
Nobody did it.
So now you're going to have to go back down there with your gear.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do it for real this time. And so what we did was, the guy's name was like Buddy, whatever. And I'm thinking, you know, what if this guy is really real? And so we went to the cemeteries that are in there and try to find his tombstone. And we found where he was buried. He was 20 some years old when he died. So it fit.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
So how far was it from the train, from the tunnel?
It was like just up the road, probably less than a mile.
Oh, so you walked there?
No, we drove around.
You drove
it's up
there.
a mountain. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is where we smelled the violet or whatever that. It's pretty freaky, man.
So you were kind of convinced though that it definitely wasn't somebody screwing around.
No, it was nobody. And the only we kind of watched the video to see if anybody like took something out of their pocket.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
They totally didn't.
Now, when you watch that video, did you notice anything in there?
Well, that's what I was looking for here. Do you see all those things flying around?
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere. So I'm like at the back of the thing, and I keep turning around to see if there's anything following us, or you can catch anything when it gets super dark.
Yeah, some kind of orb buzzing by, or like a black shadow or something.
Now the video cuts off here in a second, and when we're halfway through the tunnel, we saw lights started coming out to us, and it was another group. They must have got told the same shit, and they were coming up, and we were like, "What is that?"
Yeah,
and we started running.
That's pretty crazy.
Would you have done it? Would you have gone through the tunnel?
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. I'm in. As long as we had Boone's Farm wine and some 3-2 beer.
We were stone sober here.
So you did get some kind of feeling though, that it wasn't the normal, like, there was that.
There was something to it. The smell is what got me. The violet smell got me.
Yeah. That's
there you go.
Wild. Okay. And now you got a fire station?
Yeah. So we got invited to the Poland fire station because after they saw our Mansfield reformatory video, they said that we are super haunted over here. So we went and checked this out.
Okay, wait, let's stop before we get to that. The Mansfield reformatory. Now, I hear that place really is haunted, and there's some sick stuff that goes on there.
It was an amazing place, though. I mean, have you ever been there?
No.
It is huge, and it's like set like right where the Shawshank Redemption stopped is where that thing begins here, and they haven't touched it. I mean, there's still stuff in the cells. So I'm going through the cells, like rummaging through to see if I can find newspaper clippings or books or whatever. So cool. So, but what was freaky is like they have these challenges where you turn off your light and you're walking past all of these open door cells. And then you have to see if you can make it all around the cell block without either screaming, running, or turning on your flashlight. And like when you're walking by these dark cells, you start seeing shit like peeking out at you and whatever. It's a lot of imagination game.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I heard about the Mansfield Reformatory. I've never been down there, but I know a lot of people are really into that, and a lot of people have seen some scary stuff down there. Well, you figure all the evil that has gone on in that prison over the years, and all the, the sickos and the murderers, and rapist and just the evil that you're jamming all into this building. And didn't they have death row there too, right?
They did.
Electric
Here,
chair
here
or
was the
something?
scariest part. So they have an attic, like they have a chapel, and right next to the attic is just a kind of wide open space where they have the AC equipment. And they told us a story that there was a prison that was located nearby that had some kind of fire or water damage, and they took all the prisoners, and all they did was they put them all in this attic space all together. And if you walk around the place, there's a bunch of like inscriptions and stuff where they were in there. Can you imagine like 200 guys in the place? There's no bars.
And
They're
the
just
worst of the
jammed.
worst.
Yes, just jammed in
Oh.
it. So it was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we all sat in this room in pitch black and just kind of like listened. And I started freaking dozing off because I was freaking tired. And I was thinking, that's what's going to happen. I don't have a flashlight. I'm going to fall asleep. They're not going to notice that I'm asleep. They're going to leave, and I'm going to wake up in pitch black in this place.
Right. So what did you did get some stuff down there though?
Yeah.
Like
So
some
there's a thing called a spirit box that it plays through frequencies, and you put these earphones on and you hear like words and whatever. You got the earphones on and you're like repeating anything that you hear, and everybody else is asking you questions like, how did you die? And, are you trapped here? And you would not, it was amazing. Like how many things that you heard on the frequency things lined exactly perfect with these questions. You like, how did you die? It was a robbery, or I was murdered. It was so cool.
Wow.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
That place is hot though.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Okay, so now they saw your work that you did, and they says, "Hey, come on out here to the Poland Fire Department, and you're going to be amazed." So what's haunting the Poland Fire Department?
So they in the basement it used to be sort of like a city building, so it had fire, police, jail, mayor, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And in the basement is where there was a jail cell, is where their holding cells were, and there was a couple of people who died during that. And they say that this very person that messes with everybody, plays pranks on him and whatever. So that's where we put all of our stuff. Two guys would go down there, go pitch black, just sit and listen and and see what investigation would turn up. And there was noises, and we go around and investigate, like a heater popped on or whatever.
Yeah.
But the dude that I was with, nothing was happening, and we were kind of just bullshitting. And he was like, you know what? Let's separate. I'll go sit in the hallway, and then I'll be in another room and make it pitch black again. He got up and started walking, and he saw like a figure appear from him. The dude jumped back, and this guy isn't a bullshitter. So if he saw something, I believe that he did. But anyway, so he jumped back, and he saw it's like a full figure apparition appeared before him. Old guy, long blonde hair. It's
and now is that who you were looking for?
Nobody could tell me who the person was that died. So putting two to two together, that's probably that dude. But yeah, it was spooky.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say we got more stuff at the Poland Fire Department than we did in the Mansfield prison.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, because a lot smaller and condensed down. And so all of our batteries died and everything. So like we had walkies would go out on us, phones would go dead. All the things you hear about during ghost hunts happened. Totally happened to us.
Oh, that's pretty wild. And these guys that work there, they hear shit and. Yeah,
a couple of the office ladies stopped in before the ghost hunt to kind of give us the background and the stories and what their experiences were, so we kind of knew what to look for. But yeah, they were convinced, and they were just normal people. These are, again, not
now,
making
what mainly would they hear doors slamming or things like that?
Their files were in the basement, so every time they needed something to either file or whatever, they had to go down there. And they would get jacked with. Like one lady said she tried to open the filing cabinet and it wouldn't open. And she's like, come on, stop messing with me. And then the filing cabinet was open on its own. That kind of a thing.
Oh,
so
wow.
Pranksters.
Yeah. Now, I know you were talking about going to Hotel Conneaut. How are you coming with that?
I want to go. I haven't made contact with them yet, but that's totally on the list.
Yeah, no, that place you will definitely.
Would you go? Would you tag along for it?
Yeah, I'd go.
Would do it?
Yeah,
okay.
I will go to Hotel Conneaut because I've been in there and I've just felt some stuff. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people that is slamming doors and have seen like the little girl on the bicycle, and Elizabeth is one of the ghosts up there. And there's a lot of people have seen stuff in there.
I think most of their ghost hunts, they have the people stay the night. I don't know if I'd want to stay in that place after getting all.
Oh, I have. I stayed there.
Have you?
You know what? I've been in that place all by myself more than once. And needless to say, though, you know, I was worried.
Right.
You know, I
On the
just had
freaky
to,
scale, what do you give it? 1 to 10.
if you're there by yourself, it could get kind of freaky.
Okay.
And the one time I remember we were there, we had a meeting and we were just down in the basement, and it was like in February or something, wintertime. We were getting our plans ready for spring. So we met in the ballroom, and we're down in the basement of the thing, and I had to go use the restroom. I had to go down this hall, and let me tell you something. I was kind of like,
Do I really have to go?
A lot of times, though, I was kind of hammered when I was there, because that was the beauty of doing the gigs there, because you could party like crazy, and then you just stagger across the street and just crash, you know. But no, you definitely did. You know, you just had that feeling in there.
Yeah, I think they might be a little pissed at me, the ghost there, because do you remember when Conneaut first like reopened, that first owner, when they started getting things together?
Yeah.
Well, I went up there, my family went up there, and I took some video footage of the outside of the building. And then I took the video footage and I doctored it up to make it look like things were coming up to the window, and I put it on social media. It was all faked, but I got some pretty good attention on Facebook.
Yeah.
But the ghost might be pissed that I did that to him.
Yeah. No, don't be messing with don't be cheaping, you know. Don't cheapen our real ghost experience here.
Right.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that, especially the people that would work there, you know, throughout the year, they would always come across doors slamming or things out of place or something, and they were the only people in there. There's no way there's anything else, and all of a sudden you just hear a door slam or something, and there was nobody in there. I mean, you know, they unlocked it and went in, you know. And I there's a lot of people who've seen all kinds of stuff there. The little girl on the bicycle is one of them, and Elizabeth is the other one that seems to be like one of the most popular ghosts up there that people have seen. So
does it have like that Shining feel to it?
You know what? It's not like I don't think it's like an evil feel, you know, but it's a supernatural feel.
Okay.
It's not like you're sitting there like fearing that, you know, like an evil spirit, but you definitely feel that there's some sort of spiritual presence there, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. So if anybody's listening has an in for the Hotel Conneaut and can hook us up, get in contact with me.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. And it is kind of scary. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Jaybird said most people are drinking heavily prior to going there. So like, well, I think he went down to Mansfield too. I think he was on a ghost hunt down there, if I'm not mistaken.
It was such a cool place. Love it. I'd go there in a heartbeat.
Well, like I say, with all the evil that is packed into that building, you know, because all these people were, you know, I mean, that's where you had like hardcore criminals, you know.
And it was in like an insane asylum for a little while too.
Yeah. You know what's another place that's supposed to be spooky is that insane asylum they used to have in Newcastle. Did you ever hear of that place?
No.
Yeah, you got to look that up. Maybe even on your phone. There's Jaybird was down there at the Mansfield Reformatory. Yeah, what's the name of that place? You know, look up haunted, Newcastle? Maybe haunted. I'll
just do haunted asylum.
Haunted Asylum, Newcastle. Oh, I heard that door click, and I'm thinking, what's that?
It's called Haunted Asylum. It's Hillview Manor.
Hillview Manor, that's it.
Yep. Haunted Hillview Manor.
Yeah, the place even looks scary. Yeah.
Oh, that looks it.
Yeah, that's it.
Hillview Manor. Well, let's do it. We could get the MLO bros, us, and go do a haunted walkthrough. I'll totally do it.
Oh, that would be pretty wild.
Huh. All right, I'm in.
Okay, yeah.
Let the holidays pass and first of the year, we're going to go on a haunted thing.
Yeah, and we'll get a Conneaut Lake, Hotel Conneaut too.
Oh yeah,
because that's that one I would definitely like to see. There's been a lot of ghost hunters there, and a lot of people have had different experiences. So it's not like that's going to be like a waste of time. I think that's
that's going to be a for sure.
I think that's a
Sure thing.
proven one. And same with this one out here. Was that Hillside Manor, you say?
Yeah.
Hillside Manor in Newcastle. Maybe somebody knows
Haunted
about
Hillview Manor.
Hillview Manor. Yeah. Hey, what kind of beer is this? This is from our friends at Noble Creature Cask House right up the street here.
Yeah, right.
Was that say fire to what?
Fire to face.
Fire
to your face.
Oh, fire to your face. I'll tell you what, this is some good stuff here. This is
support Noble Creature.
Youngstown Noble Creature. Where am I at there? Oh, there we go. Fire to face. And it's kind of like spicy. I don't know if this is like pumpkin spice or whatever it is, but it's got some kind of like spicy thing to it.
You get a great sampling of beer here at Youngstown Studio, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
you do. Yeah, you do. But I liked, even at Sam Adams we had that one time was pretty good.
If those of you didn't see that show, Fred was drinking like year-old Sam Adams that was left over from my Christmas party, and he loved it. It was great. Sam Adams doesn't go bad.
Nah, you know what? I think it takes a while for stuff to go bad nowadays. Some people I think get a little nervous about, the expiration date. I think some of that stuff on these expiration dates is like,
it matures. It's like wine.
Yeah.
No.
yeah. Jaybird said it's free. Drink it. I am. That is exactly. What I was talking about that on the radio today on Y103. I was talking about. They did a survey. I don't know how they did it, and they said the two worst beers are Natty Light and Natty Ice. And I started thinking. I was going, well, it dawned on me that I really don't have a favorite beer. Especially, if you have a sponsor somewhere, you drink whatever the sponsor is. If I'm out on Miller Lite night, hey, I'm drinking Miller Lite. That's how it goes, But then I thought, my favorite beer is Free Beer.
Free Beer.
That's my favorite.
The brand Free
Yes.
Beer. It's sponsored by Free Beer.
Everybody's favorite. Everybody loves Free Beer.
Now, are you?
How's the No Shave November going here?
Mine's a little irritating. I know
okay.
I'm not as caught up as you, but
yeah, I don't know.
Looking good.
Yeah, a couple more weeks.
Okay, you going the full way?
Yeah,
All of it.
yeah. I mean, what's the difference in what I normally look like? Except I usually just shave the sides, but yeah, get your prostate checked. Even maybe we'll have Viking Jim come down to the studio next week and
I'll bring in the dog and we'll do one right on there.
We'll give you a free one.
That might be the only free thing that he would turn down. I think so.
No, he's
He would
paid
take
for
it.
more than that, or less than that. Yeah. So
we love you, Viking.
We have to get Vike down. I haven't talked to Vike for a while. We got to, since he moved off the radio and is in, the healthcare realm.
Right.
He has, it's a different Viking Jim. It really is. I was surprised he wasn't at JFK's birthday at the Royal Oaks last Saturday. We had a good time there. I want to thank everybody.
You mentioned
for coming
Royal
out
Oaks twice in this show, and Viking Jim's name wasn't anywhere near the
No.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah. So other than that, I think that's about it. We could sit here and BS here for a couple minutes while I finish my beer, and
then we'll take off and get some sleep. I've been going since 3:30 this morning. So I'm spent.
But you're like that mad scientist type, inventors and mad scientists. And,
all we do.
Tesla, he doesn't sleep a
Heck
lot.
no. He sleeps in
Elon
the factory.
Musk, you think those guys sleep a lot? Heck no.
Yep.
They don't sleep. They're too busy thinking.
Right.
Ideas don't stop. You go to sleep, you're going to lose your train of thought. Yeah, that it definitely has some taste to it. It definitely has some taste to it. You know what I had not too long ago was a this is some kind of like pumpkin spice type thing. It's something really spicy. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it definitely has some taste to it. I'm still trying to figure out how pumpkin spice took over. How did pumpkin spice become so big? Before, when I was growing up, apples were the flavor of fall. Apple cider, apples, caramel apples. It was bobbing for apples. It was all about apples. When did pumpkins come along and knock apples out of the picture? That's
Now,
what I want to know.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I think it's Big Pumpkin.
You think so? I could have figured that one out myself.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, yeah. I think I could have figured that one out myself. But remember, that used to be the big thing. When fall rolled around, it was all about apples. Yeah. Apple festival, apple this, apple that. And now all of a sudden it's pumpkins. And I like apples better than pumpkins. I love apples.
Yeah.
Apples are one of my favorites.
We got White House Fruit Farm that does a great job. We have Hartford that does a great job.
Yeah. We always used to broadcast from the Hartford Apple Festival for many, many years, like back in the 80s. And one thing I remember about the Hartford Apple Festival, and this is just for no particular reason, the one year when the Oak Ridge Boys come out with that song, Elvira. Remember Elvira? Ba-boom, ba-boom, mow. When they came out with that song, it was so big, and it was everywhere you went. And so that whole period of time, it was like every single band or every guy with a guitar, everywhere you went, everybody was playing Elvira. And a lot of them were worse than the others. And I just remember this one band out at the Hartford Apple Festival this one year just butchering Elvira. And I could just see them standing on stage and they're playing it. And it's like, is every single band in the world playing Elvira this summer? But another one was, remembered a funny commercial about Dickens Fruit Stand. And it was like, it's like, hey, fall is here. And what you need right now is a Dickens cider. And I'd be like, hey, my grandma always said that the best way to start your day is with a hot Dickens cider, and then it would go on and, and hey, for those of you that like a little bit of alcohol mixed in your cider, then you got to stop on out and ask about a hard Dickens cider. Dickens Fruit Stand, Highway 69,
We got to do some of these, Fred. We've been threatening to do some of these parodies, but that would be great.
You know what? I got to get Casey Malone and Chris Patrick to get off their asses and get the Tippy Wives back up and running.
I'll host it. I will record it.
We are missing the boat in a big way. And I keep saying, let's get this going. And then if I run into them and then we have a couple of drinks and it's like, oh, it's the greatest idea. Table of good ideas. Everybody's all for it. Everybody's all in. And then 2 days later, it's like,
I'm calling them out on Facebook. I'm gonna tag them both in there.
Yeah.
Get them to respond. We'll get them down
and say, let's get the Tippy Wives going.
Okay.
Let's get the Tippy Wives.
We had a meeting the other day, and I played one of their Tippy Wives at my meeting because we needed some comic relief.
Yeah,
so we used an old Tippy Wives.
I would
die.
That was like one of the all-time greatest bits. And you know who came up with that? Actually, the woman that came up with that was kind of a Tippy wife herself.
Really?
She was a doctor's wife. And we were on this thing. And this is when the Browns first came back, and their first exhibition game was against Tampa Bay. And somehow we all got involved in this trip down to Tampa to see this. And I can remember we had this pool party going on, and she started talking about the Tippy Wives. And then all of a sudden the wheels just started spinning. It was one of those things. And, it just took off from there, but it wasn't even our idea. It was her idea, and she come up with it. And we just took off with it because, you see all this stuff and it's just nonstop, because, the pretentious, we think we're better than everybody else.
Yeah.
Rich fucks. It's like, it's a winner. Everybody can relate to that.
Yeah. There's nobody feeling bad for the Tippy Wives.
Yeah,
no one.
Right. And the more outrageous they get, like, with Thanksgiving coming up, I remember we did one, oh, this Thanksgiving, I have absolutely nothing to be thankful for. It's like I get a Benz and Susie gets a Tesla. I get a tennis bracelet and she gets a diamond necklace. I am just so depressed. I need to go on a shopping spree. I have absolutely nothing to be thankful for.
The best.
And it was just like it just going on and on.
My favorite bit from you guys, where I was driving around one day just as a listener, and it was you and Nard, and you were doing those crank phone calls where you'd call and say that I forget what the premise was. Like, name some of the ones that you guys have done where you called and said something happened and the person like bought into the.
Oh, we did one like there was a lot of them. Like, we would cancel people's weddings, and that was always a good one when you would mess with brides. Brides are on edge. If you would mess with a bride, you were going to get. You knew if they said, "Hey, just call them up and joke with her a little bit. She'll get it."
No.
Oh, okay. Hey, tell her that they had to move it to a different hall or whatever. The limo's canceled. Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds funny. I'm sure that they'll get a big kick out of that, And then it just got to the point where anybody would say, hey, you got to do that. Hey, my girlfriend, she'll get a big kick out of this. She's been a real bitch, and this wedding has been really stressful on her. And I think she needs a good laugh. And I'll tell you what, I think if you would do this, she'd get a good laugh over it. And, well, listen, we can't have it at this hall because, quite frankly, somebody else that's a big name in the community has offered us a large sum of money. And I don't know how to put it to you, but you're going to have to find someplace else because
the tension goes, the silence, you feel it.
Yeah. This is like, a local mall developer. And I think it would really look good on our place, on our resume to say that we hosted this for these people. And I think, for them and for us, it would be a win-win. And you still have like 3 weeks where you could find a new place.
And the tension blows. I've felt the breathing.
Yeah. And all of a sudden it was like, okay. And then the next thing you know, it's like, that no good son there isn't going to be a wedding. You tell that son of a bitch there isn't going to be a wedding. Do you hear me? And you'll be hearing from my attorney. You'll be hearing from my lawyer.
Yes.
They'd be like, okay. That didn't go quite as planned. And they would do that stuff, and it would just be like,
but you sold it so well, and that's what made those calls awesome, because you didn't overplay it. It was so believable, just absurd enough to get their thing going. Loved it.
Yeah, Jay Bird had mentioned the Jerky Boys. Those guys are hilarious too. They're still funny, and Jack Torres and hey, tough guy, I'm gonna come down there and whack you in the head with a ratchet.
Sizzle chest.
Hey, chisel chest. Hey, I got fired from my last job because the boss didn't know anything. I knew a lot more than the boss, and he's trying to tell me what to do. So I had to wrap him in the head with a ratchet. Stuff like that.
Oh, so good.
Or they had the gay guy, and they were firing stuff down on me because I would wear I would show up on the construction site and I would have these short shorts on, and some people didn't take it the right way. And, and Saul Rosenberg.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, hey, this is Saul Rosenberg. I want to join the nudist camp. I want to run around naked and put sand clams on my assy nipples.
That was such good stuff. Ass clams.
I want to join the nudist camp. A nudist camp? Yes. Saul told me that, Saul Rosenberg and Who's the other one? Yeah, Saul Rosenberg, Jack Torres. The one with the rapper. Hey, I'm gonna come down there and I want to play you. I want you to play my record. I'm a rapper. I'm gonna come down there and go bam. I'll tell you who was really the funny ones was the Touchstone Terrorist. Now those guys with Jim Bob and the Angry Janitor and hey you turd burglar you. I want to talk to Scooter. Get Scooter transmission. You put Scooter on the phone. I got an angry man here that's gonna come down there and hey, this is Willie. Why are you messing with Scooter? Why are you messing with Scooter? I come down there and wrap my underwear around your head. And he'd come on there and the Angry Janitor still. Was that you that left the log in the toilet? I know that was you. I'm gonna give it a DOA test.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, but then those guys they ended up falling off because, well, first of all, they were called themselves the Touchstone Terrorists. Then when 9/11 came along, right. you go start Googling terrorists, right. And it's like, what the hell?
Yep.
Oh, okay. One more here before we go, because now this I just want to change. We probably should have ended this like a half hour ago, but I just can't stop. I had one more because this is kind of up your alley, and we kind of, I think, talked about this.
Sure.
How about this? This is one, and I know this is one of your pet peeves because you were talking about this. You might even been talking about this on your radio show about this one. The FTC has banned click to subscribe, call to cancel. They finally banned that. And the logic is if you could subscribe online, you should be able to cancel online.
Right.
And I know you were big about that because you felt that they were forcing people into renewing and not making it like hey, I feel like renewing, but they were doing it and making you seem like a bad guy.
And making it hard to unsubscribe. Yeah. It was awful.
Yeah. So now they're not doing that anymore. And I thought that was a pretty cool thing there.
Yeah.
If you could click online and say subscribe, then you can click on there and go unsubscribe and I'm done, and not have people pressure you into that. And I think you brought that up, that was even just like a bad business model.
It is.
That you're making people pissed at you to use your service where they should be happy to use it and want to use it. If they want to use it, then continue on instead of pissing them off or strong arming them into keeping it or trying to trick them to make it so they can't cancel. So
yeah, one of the companies that I deal with, they resubscribe you automatically for a yearly thing, and they give you like 48 hours from the announcement to cancel it, or they're going to charge you for the whole next year. So I don't check my mail every day. I came in on like a Friday and I saw it on a Monday, and I call them like, hey, you know what? I'm probably like 12 seconds over the deadline. Will you cancel me? And like, no, I'm sorry, sir. You have to cancel by like this morning at 8 o'clock. I was like, you got to be shitting me. Who treats people like that?
Yeah. I'm supposed to be a customer. You're supposed to be looking out for me. And this is how you treat me.
No, you got me, but I will never do business with you ever again.
Yep. You got me that one time. Yep. And are you going to get reoccurring business?
Nope. You're dead.
Not at all.
Dead to me.
All right. What do you think? Let's wrap this up.
Yes.
I think I had enough for today. No Shave November continues. Get your prostate checked, even if it's by Viking Gym at the truck stop in the parking lot of the Royal Oaks.
With a coupon.
We'll save you some money. Viking Gym, we'll be doing prostate exams for bearded individuals in the parking lot of the Royal Oaks in about an hour. Look for the man with the stained lab coat.
Oh, that's so gross.
And he's smoking a joint. And he's got a bottle of wild turkey in his hand. That's the guy. And we'll make sure that you have a healthy prostate and any other male problems that you may have. Mike will be more than happy to take a look at it.
All right. Peace out.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. If you like our programming, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, or subscribe to your favorite podcast platform like iTunes or Spotify. This is original Youngstown content, and we would appreciate you sharing